Hey guys, so it is edition 2 of Maggie Murphy Manifestation Mailbag Monday Marathon, and the timing is just right. This is probably going to work out. Last week I didn't have time, but Monday's a good day for this because Sunday morning is about the only time of the week where I have nowhere I must be, nobody I have to manage, and no deadlines for the day that I can't take care of the day before. So today is going to be the second edition. Sorry I missed last week. Can't promise I'm going to be able to do it every week. Not that anyone cares. So the place to send questions and stuff, if you want to have them on here maybe, is manifestationmailbag@gmail.com. And I just want to put a disclaimer. If you're sending me questions about a specific person, you really just need to reference everything on my channel that I've said about specific people, or just, I don't know. The people that are sending me specific person questions can't have watched much of my channel, I don't think. But I can always tell when it's about a specific person because I'll go to check my email once, like I check it like once a week or something, and there will be multiple emails from the same person days apart. I'm like, that person's obsessed with somebody. I don't know what it is about the specific person, but actually I think I do. It's when there's a person outside, when you're projecting something and you're seeing it in another person, like a misbelief you have about yourself that creates a need, and you see that person as fulfilling it, and then you will be whole, which is almost always at the root of every other thing you think or feel about somebody. That is just like something that's really hard to let go of, because there's something about seeing it in another person that ignites something and makes you just unable to let it go or stop thinking about it. But it's always all about you. It's always something that is coming from you. That's my response to that. For now, I don't know. I'm probably, those questions they're always the same. They're always like 30 pages long with the whole life story of both people, and then just like, can I manifest this person is the question. It's just kind of like a compulsive need to focus and talk about it, and I have no judgment on that, because I've certainly thank God, prior to stumbling onto the online manifesting community, I've always had that sort of like fixation on relationships that didn't work out. And thankfully, I also sort of luckily, randomly, nothing is luck or random, stumbled on the answer to that, which I've talked about on previous videos here. So anyway, so I'm going to read my comments, and I'm going to, I haven't looked at these. This is 2 weeks worth of comments on my channel, and I've got a few emails printed out also. This is 2 weeks worth of comments that had questions. I haven't read these other than the first time I read them, and just kind of like skimmed by them so they would show up in my unanswered comments section on my YouTube Studio app. So, okay, this one I skimmed through before starting this because it's long. It is a person who is trying to manifest somebody into their life and had a dream where they were together in it and it felt real, and that's basically what it was. And the question is, do you think our subconscious minds can communicate with the other person's subconscious mind? I keep asking mine to communicate with hers. If that's anything, I don't know. Sorry for the long post. Take care. Okay. Can your subconscious mind communicate with another person's subconscious mind? Well, you'd have to define subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is just kind of an idea. It's like, it's not like an actual part of your brain. The subconscious mind is, the part of you that you can't quite access that runs everything. But in terms of can you basically communicate with another person without using words? I think a lot is communicated through this energy field that we don't understand. So, I'm not an ascended master or a wizard or anything like that, so I can't really tell you For sure. Yes, it can. But I mean, yeah, all this stuff is happening. Yeah, this stuff is happening. I think it's safe to assume at this point that, all the stuff you've considered to be woo is pretty much happening. Okay. Hey Maggie, here's a question I've had for a while. I feel like I'm in this in-between stage where the things that no longer match with who I am have fallen away from my life. And if I try to go towards those things for safety, I feel this huge resistance block as I don't identify as that person anymore. However, the things that I do want and do feel aligned with have not shown up in my life yet. How do I deal with this? Because it's kind of unsettling and makes me feel a lack of security about my future. Yeah, I get that. We've all been there. Absolutely. I think that's the time when you just sort of sit back and appreciate the things that you have and feel a sense of positive expectancy about the future and just allow all the things that have changed about you to cement and become natural. Because, as Neville Goddard says, it's the naturalness that produces the things that you want. If it doesn't feel natural, it won't be there. So there's that kind of period of emptiness that doesn't have to be bad. Fill it with something. Fill it with, fill it with happy daydreams and maybe service to others or something else that can make you feel good. Fill it with feeling good somehow. Play some video games. That's what I like to do. Okay. If I'm grateful for the good things I find about a problem I have, does that mean gratitude will bring me more problems? I made a video about this. It's actually the same person. I'm sorry. I wasn't ignoring you on this first comment, but I answered this a couple of days ago. No. Finding gratitude, even in the midst of problems, does not create more problems. Or I should say, more problems could be created, but I wouldn't attribute it to the fact that you've been feeling good about other things unless you're taking those good feelings and using them to then neglect the rest of your life or something like that. But no, it doesn't replicate the current. If you appreciate your current life, that won't just keep replicating your current life. It sort of raises the frequency that you're broadcasting and tends to improve everything. I think that's why it's a thing. But anyway, I made a video about that like 2 back. So if you didn't see that, it's there. Okay. If everything is being created by ourselves, can you explain tragedy? I believe one of your earlier videos, you said we could not manifest death, yet I'm confused on how we reconcile that with creating our reality. This person lost a pet in a tragedy. That is awful. Okay. No one knows the answer to this. All I can give you is a perspective. By the way, I forgot to have my disclaimer, which is that this is just a perspective, and who the fuck am I? So you just have to think about this for yourself and see if anything I say resonates with you. I am not an ascended master, so I don't have all the answers for this. But when it comes to we are creating it all, I've never taken that to mean that you, like me sitting here in my car, is responsible for wars that are happening across the world. I don't think that's what you create it all means. I think what you create everything means is that you can rest assured that this is not an experience that is happening by someone else's hand for you. This is all something that you chose to experience. And so if you go through something really tragic, which I know a lot of people who watch this content have because they've emailed me over the last 5 years, I don't think you can look at a tragedy as, this is my fault, from this human level. I think you look at it as, this is an illusion, and I created this experience on purpose, not me right here, right now, the person who loved the animal that died, but the grander me created this experience because it was the fastest and easiest way to get me to change in some way. What else is the value? If you don't go through a tragedy and come out better on the other side, what was the value in it? I think these things are all opportunities that you've created for yourself. Different people handled the exact same situation differently. They change differently. They experience different levels of, feeling to blame or feeling sad or feeling angry. That's all you. That's all specific to you. And I think it's safe to assume, and it's, I think, this is a lot for people, this idea. I was going to make a whole video about this, but maybe I don't need to. Over the last 5 years especially, I've been viewing everything that happens more and more as, why did I want this to happen? Because more and more I have been sensing that people want everything that is in their life. They want all of it. They want the good things. They want the bad things. Everything that's going on is something that on some level you want. And if you start to think that more and more often and view the situation that you're in presently that way more and more often, the truth of that will start to be able to be seen. And then you can see, okay, I'm creating this for this reason. This is what I'm trying to do with this situation. This is where I'm trying to go. This is what I'm trying to change. This is what I feel I needed to experience this for. And it's really difficult to apply that to situations that are heartbreaking, and anything having to do with pets definitely falls into that category for me. So, how to reconcile that with manifesting? I think you have to keep in mind that time is not linear. Time is a construct of man. That's definitely a part of reconciling it for me is, if you right now, right here, have an intention for something and it seems to require moving parts that in linear time couldn't have been set up, that's my explanation for that. So I think if you have intentions right now, if you remove the idea of linear time from it, you can sort of think of your greater self as influencing your current intentions or vice versa. And I think that's how that all works. And thankfully, that is totally inexplicable. I'm glad I don't have to understand it any further than that in order to move on mentally from it. But I don't know if that made any sense. That was the best shot I've ever taken at answering that question. That's the best I'm ever going to do. So I hope that, I hope somebody got something from that one. I don't know. What about manifesting where your children are concerned and their behavior? Okay, what about manifesting where your children are concerned and their behavior? My answer to that is there's nothing and no one to change but self. If you haven't watched the show Nanny 911, watch it. Your children's behavior is a direct reflection of you, and that is proven on that show over and over and over again. By the way, just in case your response to that is that show is scripted or it's fake, I will just give you a quick anecdote. A friend of the family and her daughter, who is this was a long time ago. This was like 30 years ago. A family friend of my mom and her nightmare daughter had to live with my mom and stepfather for a brief period of time. And because of some situation, some housing situation where there needed to be a sale of a house and a move into whatever, and they had no place to live for like 2 months. So this friend and her daughter moved into my mom and stepfather's house, and the nightmare daughter magically transformed overnight and remained that way the whole time they lived there. And the second they moved out, she turned right back into a nightmare again. So if you think your children's behavior is not related to you, I mean, I hope that you wake up to that. It's pretty clear that when that child had a stable, kind of a strong rule the house with an iron fist type of father figure around, she shaped right up. And then she had an extremely stable, for the most part, mother figure around, which my mom's friend definitely could not probably be described as super mentally stable during that time period. It was clear that having those influences turned everything around. So she was just reflecting her mother and your children and their behavior. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about kids that are like, under 15 or something. If they're older, I don't know, you just see everybody in the best light you possibly can. But the whole basic underlying concept of manifesting, and especially if you're coming at it from the Neville Goddard standpoint, is there's nothing and no one to change but self. Neville Goddard never recommends focusing on others. This is why I don't understand how the SP community sprung up around Neville Goddard. I mean, his whole thing, if you understand Neville, there's no way you could ever think Neville would support you obsessing over some person, even your kid. But, so, yeah, that's my answer to that. All you have to do is change and stabilize yourself and stop focusing on them and start focusing on you. And I think with kids, you should see a change, especially if they're small. You should see changes in their behavior pretty fast. Okay, Maggie, can you talk about your own work about gratitude? I want to know how much of your state of being is about the feeling of gratitude, enjoying, and how much is about being in observation mode for understanding the root of your daily events. I would say I don't do a lot of intentional gratitude stuff. I've been talking about that a lot. Okay, this was from 11 days ago. I've made like 3 videos about this, so I'm assuming this commenter either watched those or not. But I find myself snapping into observation mode most of the time whenever anything is happening, and I am very busy focused on things happening in my present environment for about 90% of the day. So hopefully that answered that comment. Someone said, okay, I was saying in a previous video, this comment is in response to a previous video where I was saying that something about how like I still sometimes can't understand like how, my significant other could like really love me. It's just weird that the whole like idea of romantic love has just been this big warped thing for my whole life. Like I remember like being in love with this little boy like across the table from me in kindergarten, and so this has been like a thing for me since I was a little kid, and it's just grown and warped and twisted and turned into like the end all be all of everything. And then I had a big self-concept shift, and then it turned into nothing, and basically immediately I met my current significant other. And so it's just been this big thing. Like there's never been a big break where I was just like by myself and not, I met Matt, like I was never single for like one day, even after I had that self-concept thing, I was kind of involved with somebody at the time. And then he was basically around until I met Matt. So it's like, I've never had this. But anyway, I was talking in a video about this. Like I've never had a chance to just sort of be alone and allow my self-concept relating to romantic relationships to just like kind of settle. So I don't know. I was talking in a video recently about that. Like, what, I still have this like idea that in order for a man to really be able to love a woman, that she has to be like perfect looking. I hate that. It's like clearly intellectually not true. And yet there's still that like reaction. So in response to that, somebody said, what is your criteria for determining if you are loved? Is it you feel loved, as in love is a feeling you feel? Is it some behavior or experience that is reflected in the outside world? Is it the absence of a negative feeling of not being loved? Is it even a feeling? I'm not sure. This might have just been a rhetorical question just for me to think about, but I didn't answer it and I left it for this, so I'll answer that. And it's interesting. This was helpful, actually, these questions. I think that when I said that, I mean that I have this idea that for a man to really be happy and satisfied with a woman, she has to be like perfect looking. And in my mind, having a man be happy and satisfied with you must mean, based on what I just said, that you are loved, which is pretty fucked up. So thank you for that comment. And that must be what that means. Or I'm using the wrong words. This is why I hate the word love so much, because it's just applied to everything. When I say I don't know if you can really, maybe, thank you. Like maybe that's how to word it from now on. Maybe I don't feel like a man can truly be happy and satisfied with a woman if she's not perfect looking. That's at least progress. That too is not true, but that is definitely progress away from thinking a man can't love a woman. And by the way, like, that's fucking bullshit. So if you feel that way, I'm glad we can commiserate, but it's not true. And if you don't feel that way, please don't start thinking that, because that is the product of some shit thing that was implanted in me when I was like 5, probably, that I still, it's not really affecting my life all that much. I'm sure it affects my relationship. It does affect my relationship. I'm not sure it does. But everything is stable on the relationship front. So it doesn't come up very often. I don't think about this very much. It's not really affecting my relationship in a way that is troubling me. So it's on the back burner. I feel like that was a waste of time in this video, but who knows? Maybe somebody listening to it needed to hear that. Okay. How do I assume something different or just change my beliefs and feelings about a situation when I'm feeling so bad I can't change that? So basically, I think this question is saying, how do I assume something different or change my beliefs when I'm feeling like shit? The answer to this is find a way to stop feeling like shit. And I can't do that for you. But this is Esther Hicks's message in the Esther Hicks videos. Reach for the next best feeling. If you're depressed, sometimes the next best feeling is being super pissed off or planning revenge or something like that. Anything that pulls you up, and sometimes up is just to another bad emotion. But you have to start to climb out of it. You know, once you plan your revenge and you get sort of satiated with the planning of the revenge, then you can say, you know what, I don't actually need to do that. You know, one of the best things I think that you can understand about this whole manifesting thing and the self-concept, nothing and no one to change but self, is that the people that piss you off, like when you have somebody that you are feeling like rage at, there is no reason for that, because either you need to change something about yourself, and then once that's shifted, you'll see the illusion of what you were enraged about. Or if your rage is, justified somehow, that person is living the life of the person who does whatever it is that pissed you off. That person's life, no matter how it looks on social media or what they say, you can tell how a person is living by the things that they do. And by, you don't have to worry about vengeance, because it's punishment enough having to be the person that does the things that have upset you. Okay, you have to get this so that you can let go of other people and let go of needing to exact revenge or have justice with somebody. These things take care of themselves. You have to have faith in this. Don't try to find a whole bunch of examples where that's not true. Most of the time, you don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. And even if you do know what's going on behind closed doors, you don't know what's going on inside that person's bubble. This is how the law works. You either believe in it or you don't. If you don't, I would recommend just leaving all of this stuff behind as garbage, because that's sort of the foundational core thing you need to get and believe and have faith in. And that is one of the logical offshoots of that belief, is that you don't need to worry about other people, because if the world is a reflection for you, it is for them too. So you never have to worry about that. But so back to the question, you've got to find a way to stop feeling like shit, okay? And sometimes that means You look around and say, I feel like shit, and that is being supported by all of these really bad habits, like I'm smoking and drinking and doing drugs and eating garbage food all the time and sleeping, all day and up all night. Like, sometimes you look around and say, wow, maybe my life wouldn't be so shitty if I wasn't doing all these things. Because, you can get to the better feeling in multiple different ways. And I find that while you want to try to change your mind in order to change the outer, there are things within your grasp right now that you can do without changing your mind, and having an intention to clean up your lifestyle, if that's contributing to you feeling really bad, is important. And most importantly, it's easy to identify that and intend to change that. And if you need a mental shift to go along with that, it will come. But you can sit in your shit emotions and reach for the next best emotion, which is hope, or honestly just distraction sometimes. Whatever can take your mind off of the thing that is currently making you feel like shit. Do that for a little while at least, and try to come out of it, and then you will see other things, and that's where you have access to other thought processes that just aren't available to you from a very low state. So I hope that answered that question. Okay. If you're gonna leave a comment with a question, can you please reference whatever I said in the video? Because I make a lot of videos, and when people leave a comment, here the next comment is, what if we aren't sure if our type even exists, or our dream job? It's hard to imagine based on nothing. And I'm not sure what that's referencing. And I think I made a video after that. Was 10 days ago. I think I made a video after that about imagining based on nothing. What if we aren't sure if our type even exists? If you mean a person, I'm going to answer this. Somebody else left another comment that I'm going to answer. I think I'm going to answer that one. But the answer is, I made a video called Manifesting the Unimaginable or something like that a couple days ago, and that's where I was talking about that. Okay. That is way too complicated to answer. Okay. Okay, that's way too complicated and specific. I'd like a video possibly on how to be business savvy from your point of view. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just doing it. Kind of off topic, but I think you can tie it all in somehow. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just doing it. That is exactly how I built my entire business. And to this day, I don't know what I'm doing, I just do it. You learn stuff along the way, but you absolutely don't have to know what the hell you're doing in order to start doing it. At least once a year, I find something that I'm doing related to my business that is super, super dumb. And I'm just like, this other option existed for the last 15 years and we haven't been using it. This would have saved $50,000. That happens every single year. But if you wait until you understand every little in and out of everything to do anything, I think you're just going to stay in that state forever. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're just doing it, I think that is the best possible thing. The most successful person I have ever known in my life is the type of person who has no clue what he is doing and just goes and does it over and over and over and over and over. It's like a superpower. Most people feel like they have to know what they're doing before they do something. You don't. And actually, if you're not waiting to do stuff, don't do anything stupid that's going to get you killed, okay? Don't take this the wrong way. But it's good to just act without feeling like you have to know everything about everything you're going to do. Is it possible to heal chronic illness using manifestation? The answer to that is not no. And other than that, that's about all I know about it. I will say this. In my limited experience with physical issues, since I've been really kind of hyper aware of this, so 5 or 6 years, I have healed multiple problems with my own body by recognizing, and this may not even be true, but by recognizing or believing or thinking or entertaining the idea that it's me doing it. Like, I'm in control of this body for the most part. And a lot of my issues were mechanical. I had issues with my knee and my back. And I was like, you know what? I'm moving my body in some way that is creating these issues. And I'm probably moving my body in that way because of some kind of thought or belief system. I mean, if your mind creates sickness or injury or whatever, that's coming from a belief system or something that, something conscious, I would think. So it stands to reason that, these physical issues that I had were coming from me. So why am I doing this? That's always my question, is why? Why am I doing this? Why, what in what way is having this injury or illness benefiting me? And, or, why would I feel like I wanted this to happen? Why would I do this? What's the motivation for me for doing this? I just assume that it's just something I'm doing that I can access, but that I'm not privy to right now. And I try to come to the answer through some sort of circular, okay, I'm going to come at it this way. I'm going to come at it this way, and hopefully it'll reveal itself. So that's one of the ways that I think about that. Why would I be doing this? What's the benefit? There's some surface stuff that was like obvious. Well, my back hurts, my knee hurts. Maybe I'm just like really tired of feeling like I must go to the gym all the time in order to be in a certain physical state so that my significant other can love me or something like that. There's like a lot of stuff going on in there, and it's not that even that big of a stretch to, see how it could manifest physically, just slightly below the surface. It's almost like there's a second version of you in there doing stuff that this conscious awake version of you is not, realizing. And that other version of you is very accessible, and it's right there, and it's pretty much almost the waking you. It's just whatever. This is where shit gets weird. The answer to is it possible to heal chronic illness using manifestation is not no. It's definitely not no. I don't know. I don't know what's causing your chronic illness. But if you believe in all of this stuff, then you believe that it's something. But, I don't think you can discount. I mean, a lot of people in the manifestation community take all this stuff too literally and too far, and take it as everything in your life is being consciously created by you, the person watching this video. I mean, I don't think that that's what that really means. So, if you're coming at it from that perspective, that answer is probably not very satisfying, but it also seems like it would make sense, because people say, well, how is a baby born with an illness then? But I think there's more than meets the eye here. And I think that events are, created for a purpose. You know what I mean? And I don't know, because that hasn't happened to me. And for all I know, I'm the only person here. You know what I mean? I've never been the baby, as far as I know. I've never been the baby born with a chronic disease. So maybe that's all just an illusion. Maybe that's all just a projection. And I'm just seeing other people have that happen. I don't know. That's the best I can do answering that question. I am a believer, though, that people incarnate with us for a purpose. There's an agreement made from another level, dimension, something. They agree to come in and play a role and leave so that you can get whatever you need out of that. And I don't know. That would be, I guess, my response to babies that are, beings that have no ability to create their own physical manifestation of a belief system I don't know. There's obviously got to be another explanation for that, but that's the best I can do with that. Wow. I'm not even going to be able to get to the emails. This is getting really long. Okay. This person, there's a long comment. I'm not going to read it all, but basically the comment is, I thought to myself, I want to comment and ask this question. And then somebody else commented and asked that question. How did I create that? I don't think you did exactly, like not directly. I think most of the time thoughts take a while to manifest, especially, it takes like repetition and focus for something to be deliberately manifested. Everybody I know now, everybody has these types of experiences where you think about something and then immediately see it. I don't know. That's my answer to that. I don't know how these little things pop up immediately right after you think about them. It could be a brain thing. It could be a, weird parallel reality switching timelines thing. Somebody else sent me an email recently, or no, actually, it was a long time ago. Somebody else sent me an email a long time ago, basically asking, why is it that, like, if I just think something should happen, it doesn't immediately? And I don't know, because I just don't think that's how this works. I don't think that you just immediately have a thought and it immediately manifests, or else it would be chaos everywhere. I just don't think that works for the human experience. So, sorry, really unsatisfying answer to that, but I got to get a heart on that one. Okay. And then again, how would one manifest healing when the doctors have offered treatments that make it worse? I'm really struggling after going to the doctor, which the treatment has given me more problems than when I started, and now I have to deal with that too. Well, the first thing to do would be to try to eradicate all thoughts, in my opinion, try to eradicate all thoughts and beliefs that you are saddled with this forever. I know that's something that, like, I do if there is a problem. Instantly, Matt makes fun of me, and it always has since the first day. I always, like, take a temporary problem and extend it out to forever and start to, worry about it being there forever. It's a skill to stop that. That's something you have to practice. And definitely stop thinking it's going to be there forever. That's the first thing. Even if they tell you it's going to be there forever, you don't need to believe that or live in the vibe of that. Forget about, like, the rational thoughts about it. You don't need to feel strapped with a chronic disease that will never go away. You don't need to feel like that person. You can feel like somebody who doesn't have that. Not saying it's not challenging, but yeah, I would first get rid of the fear and belief that it's going to be there forever. And the second thing I would do is visualize yourself as not having it anymore. What would life be like? What would you feel like? And I would try to get that feeling and keep it. And what that will hopefully produce, again, I'm not an ascended master, but what that will hopefully produce is running into a person who tells you what to do to fix it, some improvement that happens for no reason that you can point your finger to. You run across a solution. You see the solution. That's what will hopefully happen from elevating yourself out of the mindset of, I need a doctor to fix this, or, which maybe you do, but, elevates you out of that mindset and up to a level where you can see something that you're not seeing right now. Just as a side note, because it's just popped into my head, I cannot tell you, it's been so many people at this point, I can't even count. I can't tell you how many people I've known who have a chronic thing going on, and then I noticed that they drink, like, they're a heavy milk drinker. And then I was like, have you considered, like, not drinking milk anymore and see if this thing improves? And then they stop drinking milk and the thing goes away. I swear to God, a lactose problem causes so many different things. I doubt it causes anybody's chronic illness that's been commenting here, but that just popped into my head. I don't know, maybe that's going to help somebody out there. It causes digestive problems, skin problems, mood problems. Anytime I know somebody who is drinking a lot of milk, I'm like, do you have any problems? You should quit that. And then they do, and it goes away. And Matt had a thing going on, and I was like, you are drinking a lot of milk. He switched to The Fairlife milk that's like lactose free, or it has the lactase, whatever, it has the enzyme in it that you don't produce. And his thing has drastically improved. So for whatever it's worth, I don't know who that was for, but it's for somebody. It's probably for a lot of people. And also, I had this, which I don't think you can really see in videos or anything, but I had the worst dermatitis, like all around my nose, like all around here. And it was almost certainly because of dairy. I started putting whipped cream cheese on like everything. It was so good. I got in a whipped cream cheese phase, and I was putting it on, like I was having like all kinds of shit, whatever. I was putting on everything, sandwiches, like bagels, everything. I also got rid of the wheat for the most part, but wheat hasn't been like an issue for me. Dairy I've had issues with in the past. I also started drinking coffee and putting in a ton of heavy whipping cream into my coffee, and I stopped both of those things and it went away. So more personal evidence that milk is the devil. Okay, 41 minutes. All right, so my brother passed away recently. I know you've experienced the death of a loved one. I'm trying to make sense of it. I was so certain he would heal from his addictions and believe in himself, but a week later, after that conviction, I got the news of his death. Yeah. This is why I don't focus on other people or what's going to happen with other people, because there's a fine line in here and I don't know where it is and I can't explain it. You absolutely influence other people with who you are and the frequency that you're broadcasting. And as far as I can tell, that's about as far as it goes. Neville says this in his books, but I don't know this either. When you envision somebody in their best and highest state, that seems to have an impact on them, which it would make sense that it does. And when you're around that person, it will certainly come through that that's how you've been seeing them. And that tends to have this like effect of lifting them up. But as for me, that's as far as it goes, because there's nothing in no one to change but self. And I don't know, if you can't manifest death, which Neville says you can't, and I don't know, I don't have any reason to believe that you can. If you can't manifest death, but you can change things for other people, how does that mix together? Like, where's the line in there where you stop having any kind of influence and their personal predetermined death date, is a thing, and their life path is a thing, and how they create their whole life is a thing. If you are creating this entire thing, then it doesn't make any sense that you wouldn't also be able to create or manifest death. So if we're listening to Neville Goddard and you can't manifest death, to me that would point to other people being real and you not creating this whole thing in the way that people have taken it, as I was saying earlier in this video. If we are all one, I think the problem is that it's just simply impossible for humans to understand how these things could possibly be choreographed to the level of detail that they are. And that's just, I think, something to accept. That you can't understand the choreography, and we don't really know anything about the beyond all that much. So your brother is gone, and it was his time, I assume, to go. And I think the only thing that you can do is bring it back to you. I keep thinking of what more I could have done. I'm not one to trauma dump. In fact, I used to wonder what would compel people to tell complete strangers about their personal lives, but now I understand why. You know, it's really difficult when somebody is gone. It seems like the immediate knee-jerk reaction is always to feel like, it's like, I could have done more, and they're gone, and I have something to give right now, but they're not here for me to give it to. It's like, it's almost like, I went through this really badly with my dad after my dad died. You know, feeling like, I don't know, just going over every little thing. Like, there was this thing I could not get over. There was this thing I couldn't get over for like 2 years, which was, we moved my dad from one apartment to another while he was in the hospital, which desperately needed to happen. He was on an upper floor apartment and needed to be moved to a lower floor because he could barely get like from the car to his apartment. And I cleaned him out. I'm just threw everything away. Anything of sentimental value I kept, obviously, but he had this absolutely gross pair of shoes. Just gross. Just disgusting. And I was like, I remember thinking I should keep these, but I'm throwing them away. And when he got home and got to, you know, his couch where he spent basically the rest of his life, he had a few appointments and stuff that he had to get up and go to, which was just a major ordeal. And I bought him a new pair of shoes, I think, or he had another pair of shoes. But of course, the first time he had to go somewhere, he's like, did you throw my shoes away? And I was like, fuck. I knew I should have, but like in the moment I was throwing them away, I think it was kind of like a, you know, a reaction to the way he'd been living, and which he couldn't help, of course. But at the time I was just like, why didn't you ask me for help? Why did you make this an emergency situation? And now my life is upended. You know, why didn't you call me a year ago and ask for some help, which I would have literally dropped everything and come to you and helped you with. You know, just, I think there was a moment there where I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm throwing these away, these are gross. And then he wanted his shoes. And after he died for like 2 years, it's getting me now. I just was like, why did I do that? He had like 50 days left of his life, and the 2 times he had to leave, he had to wear uncomfortable shoes while he was out, and that just like killed me. Just killed me. Like, that he had to spend any extra moment of the end of his life in any kind of discomfort because of me, when all I wanted to do when I was down there was to make everything good. You know, it's stuff like that. It's just, it's really human. And I know everybody wants to use manifestation to escape being human, but I don't really think that's why we're here. I don't think we're here to escape being human. Do you? I don't know, man. It's really hard making sense of all this. I know people who have tried to manifest people that were sick not dying, and then they did, and that was very devastating, and, you know, it calls into question everything. I don't know. I don't do that, really. The only thing I did with my dad was I intended for him to die of a complication soon, rather than to go through the whole, like, dying of cancer thing, which was pretty obviously gonna happen, and I wasn't about to, like, try to manifest that changing. I just don't do that. I just don't do that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's not for me. I've never felt the slightest bit of need to try to change something like that. Like, when my mom got cancer, it was the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard. And for me, it just took some time. And, you know, I don't think there's not a big need to resist grief. Like, let it be there. Let it be what it was. But I think if you're having a lot of trouble getting past, like, guilt and stuff like that, you should absolutely intend to have some insight into that. You know, you can manifest a person. I don't know if I was going to make a video about this, but you can manifest a person. If you know you need to hear something from somebody who is going to change how you feel about something, then manifest that. Intend for somebody to talk to you and give you the words that you need to hear that are going to allow that grief to dissipate. I think I talked about this here. I'm, like, always very aware of repeating myself, but I mean, I've got like 500 videos. It's just going to happen. I need to get over it. With my dad, hold on. With my dad, I kept reliving his death scene over and over. It wasn't like horrific, but it was kind of horrific. And it just would replay over and over and over. And this went on for years. And it was like the middle of 2022, and I woke up in the morning early, and my dad's death scene replayed. And I thought, you know what? Like, there's something wrong here. I need a therapist or something. And so I went about my morning, and I was like in the parking lot of the grocery store or something at 6 a.m. And I Googled something. Google has been my friend for relieving me of these problems. I Googled what was happening, and the first thing it led me to was a forum where somebody was describing having they had watched their parent die in the exact same way that I did, and they were having the exact same problem. They were like, it's been years, and I'm still, I can't get over this. And I was like, okay, it's not me. This is just a part of the process for a certain personality type or something for that specific thing. It's like, this is a computer. It's so apparent to me. This is a computer. So somebody else watched a parent have this exact same death experience, and they're having the exact same response. And it's been the same amount of time. And so that was the first thing that like relieved everything for me. I was like, it's not me. There's nothing wrong with what's happening. This is just a totally predictable reaction to this outer thing, of which there are so many that how could you possibly know that unless you happen to run across somebody else who had been in the exact situation and was having the exact reaction. Otherwise, I think most people jump to, there's something wrong with me. I'm having this reaction and it's not okay or right. So that was the first thing. I was like, oh my God, somebody else. And then somebody else chimed in and said, I too had this exact experience that you're describing, and it just took a little while and then it went away. I never thought of it again. I never think of that after reading those things. I never think of it again. I could imagine it if I wanted to. I never spontaneously remember that scene, like ever. And in fact, if I try to remember it, it's way more blunted now. It's way more foggy. It's like it's done its thing. It was like, it was vivid 2 years after the fact. And everything about it was that thing where it was like, like, why didn't I do something to make him more comfortable? Or why didn't I, why didn't I become a totally different person in that moment and be like, Daddy, I love you, or so, like, I would just go over all this stuff. It was like not, I was very stoic because that's how I am. I was very stoic, and I'm not a horribly physically affectionate person to anybody that I'm not involved in a romantic relationship with. So, it's like I had all these regrets about, oh my God, I've been talking so long, my phone turned off. What was I saying? Whatever, I completely lost my train of thought, but, I would just go over and over again all the things I did wrong. And it was all about that guilt. And that is a totally normal reaction to somebody dying. And especially, I don't know if this was took their own life or an overdose. It sounds like it was an overdose. But could you have done more? Like physically, is it possible that you could have done something else? Yes, but that is not how this plays out in real life. People don't just become, look, you didn't do anything wrong. And this is a normal reaction that people have to people dying. And it's really, really awful when it's big and tragic. And it's just, look, sometimes things suck, and that's okay. And he's okay. That's a big one, I think. You need to, The other thing also is that, you get stuck on the end. Like, a person has a whole life, and then we fixate on the very end. Like, would you fixate on any other 1 month or 2 month period in somebody's life? It's because it was the end. It's like the end is more valuable somehow than any other 2 month period, like in my dad's 75-year life. That's another just mental thing that that's tormenting. Just because it was the last few weeks doesn't make it any, think about the other times where you did everything you feel right. And just think about that. The last 2 weeks are not more important than any other 2 weeks. But it's really difficult to see that when you're grieving and trying to process the apparent separation. Separation is the big thing that is so difficult about this illusion. It's the worst part. It's the thing that sucks the most. Okay, I am up to the comments from 3 days ago. I'm going to stop now because this is almost an hour long and I'm getting tired. So I hope anything in there interested anybody. I don't know. I hope that this type of format helps anybody, because I always feel like this is obviously the most rambly of all of my videos. Somebody commented yesterday, get to the point. That was their whole comment. And then I responded, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place. And then they deleted their comment. But I'm just so grateful to people that told me that, like, the rambling nature of the thought process is what's useful about this channel. Because, like, I was really self-conscious about that to the point that I didn't even want to make videos here. And because I don't particularly enjoy listening to that when other people are doing it. So I was just like, well, this isn't good enough. But here we are. And thank you for those comments. And I don't know. I hope that this in any way helped anybody. I don't feel like I had any good answers to anything today, but oh well. I'm not even going to listen back to this video. Since the people have spoken and told me that the rambling nature of the videos is useful, I haven't even been watching them after I make them. So for all I know, I'm putting out total garbage. Enjoy. Have a great day.